Jai Shri Satchidanand. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the viewers of respective places. A warm welcome to this episode of our today's spiritual talk program, Universal Revival Journey, organized by Manav Utthan Sewa Samiti. Manav Utthan Sewa Samiti is a socio-spiritual charitable organization working at the global level with an objective to awaken consciousness in mankind. Today we have gathered here once again our worldly affairs and to revive ourselves in the journey of our life. In this advancing world where we humans are mainly engaged in the daily course of our life, an act of revival becomes necessary to realize our eternal connection with the divine power, which is possible not externally but only when we connect internally. Realizing this, we are very much glad to have been able to connect you all through this platform. And moving forward, and with an invocation to the God Almighty to guide and bless us all throughout this program and help us spread the light of spirituality among every individual. Here we begin our today's program with a presentation of our first speaker, Cindy McCulligh from Mexico, who is an environmental researcher focused on water issues. She is involved with Manav Dharma organization since 20 years and is enjoying being part of this spiritual community and supporting the ashram in Mexico since its foundation. So dear ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from Cindy McCulligh from Mexico.
Yes, greetings to everyone. My pranam to Baiji, to all my dear brothers and sisters. It's an honor to be here with everyone. And this session that is organized is about Universal Revival Journey. And as I've always been told, and as Dani Baiji suggested for today's event, we should share our own experience, what has been our experience with our own revival journey. And my experience, as Ranjana Ji was kind enough to say right now, started almost 20 years ago when Mahatma Fakiranand came for the first time to Mexico. And I was fortunate enough that before Mahatma Ji came here, some people had started to share the word that this special saint was coming. They spoke of something very incredible, which as a worldly person, I felt in my heart quite skeptical actually, but it was so amazing what they were saying that definitely my curiosity was awoken. And so I was fortunate enough to be among the people who were there, the first satsang that Mahatma Fakiranand gave here in Mexico, in Guadalajara. And I can say that by the grace of Guru Maharaji, from the first time I heard Mahatma Ji, I felt in my heart that this was something completely different, and that one way or another, I wanted to stick by this and felt that automatic attraction to satsang and to wanting to always maintain that company of satsang because it gave a lot of joy. And that has been one of my main experiences in this path, is that we have to listen to our hearts, because oftentimes we have a lot of ideas about the world and prejudices about the world. We have an idea of what is the purpose of human life. Maybe we had ideas, all of us, of what religion or spirituality is. But as I've often heard in satsang mentioned by Shri Ji Maharaj, sometimes we have to leave our comfort zone. And I think our heart can be oftentimes the guide to how to live our life in the best way. When I also started to do seva, because I consider myself still a very small, tiny person on this path, someone who is still in primary school, definitely. But I feel very lucky because I very much enjoy doing service. Obviously, here in Mexico, we are very far away from India, from Nepal. I think there are many premis there from Nepal. And definitely there, you have so much opportunity to be in the company of Mahatmas, Baijis, to have darshan. Here we have that opportunity less often. But anyhow, when it comes, you know, it is the biggest gift, and it charges up your battery so that you can live your life in a different way, in a better way. And even when we don't have the opportunity of having Mahatmajis and Baijis here, or the enormous blessing of the darshan of our Lord, when we don't have, such as this year, we don't have the presence of Guru Maharaji or any of the Holy Family here this year, of course, because of the situation that we are all living. But still, service can become a part of your life. And I speak of my own journey. When I started to do a little bit of service, I started translating for Mahatma Fakiranandji, because people here in Mexico mostly don't speak English. So of course, some good English speakers, but most people only speak Spanish. So I thought, okay, I can maybe start to do that. And I found, okay, I can do that, that seva. And I remember just even the experience the first times of sitting beside Mahatmaji and feeling this enormous energy coming into my body by sitting near Mahatmaji. And somehow, I guess, there are many things on this path that happen at a very subtle level, right? That we don't necessarily understand, but that slowly, slowly change us. That is one of my main experiences, I would say, in my own revival journey, is that as we practice this path in all its different aspects of meditation, of service, of satsang, then slowly, slowly, we start to be able to see changes in our own self, in our own life. And in this week, I was remembering actually one story in this beautiful book of Lord Buddha that Shri Ji Maharaj left with us here in the ashram. And it is very short. It just tells about this rich widow who had a reputation for being a very good person, a very kind person. And she had a servant who was living with her, working with her, and she was a wise lady, this servant. So she wondered, is she really a good person? Or is she only seeming that way because her circumstances are quite good? So this servant lady, she got up late, came to work late one day, and the widow became very angry and scolded her. And the servant lady said, you know, if I'm late one day, you shouldn't become so upset. So anyhow, the next day, she also got up very late and came very late to this widow. And the widow became very angry and started beating her. And this became known. That this had happened, and it changed people's idea a little bit of who this widow was. And I think this is a very good story because we have to see ourselves a little bit in that widow. Are we only acting well when the circumstances are good? Or can we also take in some negative circumstances and still maintain the right action? And that is also one of the main changes that I started to see in my life when I had the great blessing of receiving this knowledge and starting to practice meditation. After Mahatma Fakiranandji insisted, I tried to listen very seriously, because if we don't listen to satsang very seriously for ourselves, then I think it's very hard to make any change, because the mind is very willful. As Vibhuji Maharaj always says, it is the greatest trickster. So Mahatmaji said, you have to try and make roots in this knowledge. And I was feeling so much joy. I thought, my God, I cannot lose this experience. You have to make roots in this experience by, even if meditation is a little bit hard, you have to make it a habit and keep trying and try all day long, try and make that practice of holy name, all those techniques throughout the day, part of your life. But I started to feel in myself that this knowledge can change our way of understanding what is right and wrong, our discernment, right? We have much more clarity of what is the right action and what we have to do. Because I think for myself, before receiving knowledge, it is very easy to feel like, the world brings certain circumstances and you react and you excuse yourself. If I became upset, if I feel this way, if I feel angry or sad or this or that, it is because the world is giving me this pain or pleasure, and so I am feeling this way. But I think knowledge teaches us that there is something obviously beyond all of this, that we have to remember all of these beautiful analogies of, what does the lotus flower mean? That it can be in any circumstance, but it is untainted. And of course, that level of realization is still something that I would be aspiring to. But even still, only through the practice of this knowledge, then you start to feel that there is a calm and a peace in yourself, that you don't have to react to the world around you. I remember the example that Guru Maharaj Ji always gives of the light bulb, that they could make the filament burn, but at the beginning it would burn out because it was reacting with the natural gases in the air. And so they had to find those non-reactive gases like argon that don't react with anything. So then the filament could burn and not burn out. So I think normally in the world, I was burning out, I would say, because you're reacting to everything and the life can feel a little bit tiring, a little bit hard, Also, of course, feeling of some emptiness, feeling of some lack of understanding. I once said to Mahatma Fakiranandji, I said, I don't think I was looking for a spiritual teacher. I don't know how this came into my life that I received this. And Mahatma Ji said, you were looking for something that was true. And I felt like this was definitely the case, because sometimes, looking around the world and feeling like, where is the real compassion? Where is the real love? Where is the, true honesty? When we can see, sometimes a panorama that doesn't look so good if we look from worldly eyes. And when we have the company of saints, which is definitely the first inspiration, because you start to see a human being who has no selfishness in their action, who lives only for other people, not for any other worldly enjoyment, and who is the happiest, most joyful, most peaceful person that you have ever seen. They say that the saints are the best investors because they invest where, they can receive infinite returns. And somehow we are still, in the worldly stock market where there's all this profit and loss. But the saints have that connection that is to the infinite. Even the last time that Mahatma Fakiranandji was here, obviously we develop a strong relationship with Mahatmas and Baijis with whom we've had the chance to serve. And Mahatma Fakiranandji came here, I think 8 times over a number of years. And every time I had the chance to be close to Mahatma Ji, and I'm very grateful because, sometimes opportunities come and you think, oh, next time, next time. And sometimes there is no next time. I think we all can understand this year when maybe all of us had something that we were planning to do, or even a trip, or maybe we were looking forward to some beautiful satsang program. Here we knew that all of Holy Family was going to come to the US, to Canada, to Mexico. We could think, okay, that would be our opportunity. But sometimes the opportunities don't come in this human life. So you have to take it when that opportunity is there. And those opportunities of, cooking for Mahatma Ji, or, translating for Mahatma Ji or organizing some satsang, and many times being scolded because there were many, many things to do, and sometimes you didn't do many things perfectly. But that also changes the way that you think, and you become responsible. Because I think if you can't be responsible for your actions, then it is very hard to grow on this path. Mahatma Ji definitely taught me to be responsible, taught me to take criticism, because the ego is very sensitive sometimes. And if we cannot understand that, okay, you have to change, and you have to be aware of your ego, and you can't be so sensitive in this world. And how can we open ourselves up to God's love? Because we are very small creatures of God's love. God knows what we need to grow, and we have to be open our hearts. When I first went to India, that was the only message from Mahatma Ji when we were going to go. Just open your heart, try and take in. And, you know, I think that now I will close. Other people are going to share their words, to share their love with everyone. But definitely, this company of satsang is essential in life, as essential as eating, as essential as drinking, as essential as sleeping, as essential as everything that we do. Our breath, which is, of course, has to be put in meditation, because, you know, just like I was thinking myself, you know, every week I speak with my family, because I want to know how they are doing. You know, I don't live near my family. I'm from Canada. My family is in Canada. How are they doing? What is happening in their life? And I was thinking, in some ways, satsang is, how am I doing? Satsang is the checking with yourself. Where am I? What do I need to do better? We have been fortunate in these past months that also we have had satsang very frequently with Mahatma Darni Baiji, who's going to be sharing her satsang today. And Baiji often leaves us homework. And I think this is a very good way of checking with yourself. How am I doing? What am I doing? And if I don't do that if not every day, at least a few times a week, or at least once a week, or maybe if people can, you know, at least a few times a month, then I think it is very easy to be so caught up in our own everyday troubles and trials that life has to bring us, of work, of family, that we can lose sight of the bigger picture. Because definitely satsang and the company of saints gives you the bigger picture. Every single time Mahatma Fakiranand came, or now that Mahatma Gargi Baiji comes to give us satsang, always my immediate experience of being in their company, besides feeling beautiful protection and love and energy and joy, was feeling like all of a sudden my own problems that I had in my life seemed very small and very manageable. Because satsang gives us perspective. It gives us calm to make good decisions, to realize the limitations that are in life and in this world, and accept them. I think if I have one goal in my immediate life, it is to try and grow in that aspect of this path, which means doing your best and accepting the outcome and not being attached to the fruits of your own action. I think sometimes things are very easy to say, and if we don't have this satsang and constant practice, then it is hard to try and demand of ourselves better. But satsang always, to me, means trying to ask the best of yourself. And that is a wonderful gift that Guru Maharaj Ji gives us, to believe in yourself. And to know that you are, of course, not alone, that connection, that support is always there and always in you. But if you can believe in yourself, then this knowledge can make you very strong. That was something I always heard from the beginning of this path, is that true devotees are like warriors, and I have seen that, and I'm so grateful for all of the wonderful devotees that I have been able to meet, and still some are far away, some are nearby, but you can enjoy their good words, their good company, and slowly make yourself stronger, you know. Know that you need to be in the fire to purify. The gold has to go through the fire to come out pure, and to feel in life that is the main focus, and I'm so honored and grateful to be here with all of you today. And my Jai Sachidanand to everyone. Pranam Bhaiji.
It's really so good to hear your wonderful experiences. Thank you so much for your inspirational thoughts. Different paths in front of us and one desired destination. We are unable to the course of various paths. Many of us may have tried more than one path, but couldn't find the satisfaction and neither been led to our destination. Hence, to know thy correct path, attain satisfaction with salvation, we need a guide, Guru. Find a guide, Sadguru. We are led through the correct path and move a step towards salvation. And this brings change in our life. To thank for these changes and continuous blessings received from the Guru, we now present you a self-composed song by the youth team of Kurseong, the land of white orchids in the hills of Darjeeling, India.
Shri Satpal to all. You changed my life, Guru Maharaj Ji. You changed my life, Guru Maharaj Ji. You changed my life. I was living my life without any reason, coming on by saying my season, but all in the day, I see more night, never thought about only my mind. But when you came into my life, you changed my life, Guru Maharaj Ji. You changed my life, Guru Maharaj Ji. You changed my life. You gave us knowledge of everything. Save us from all the sins I was blind. One life was all about you and me. From nowhere high above, thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for loving me, for loving me, for loving me. Now, I don't have any fear. No more asking with tears. I'm happy to die for you. Now, I don't have any fear. No more asking with tears. I'm happy to die for you, Guru Maharaj. You changed my life, Guru Maharaj Ji. You changed my life, Guru Maharaj Ji. You changed my life. I was living my life without any reason, coming on by, passing my season, walk all the day, and see more life, never thought of God, only in my mind. But when you came into my life, you changed my life, Guru Maharaj Ji. You changed my life, Guru Maharaj Ji. You changed my life. Thank you, Jai Shri Satpal Ji.
Thank you, youth team of Kurseong. Yes, indeed, we are lucky enough to have got a guru who has made such a lovely change possible in our lives. We now have a second speaker, Vimal Singh from Durban, South Africa, an IT consultant by profession and an aspiring youth representative of Youth Wing Manav Utthan South Africa, which has been involved in many upliftment programs for society and simultaneously grooming and guiding youth towards an exuberant, balanced life with spirituality at the core. So let's hear from Bimal Ji from Durban, South Africa.
Pranam Ranjana Bain. Thank you, Cindy Bain. Jai Sachidanand, dear Mahatma Ji. Thank you, dear technical team, for sorting out and working in the background. My namastes to all present. I'm Vimal. I'm from South Africa, as Ranjana said. I've been humbled in this request to share my experiences. Just like the thousands of devotees that are serving and have the experience of spiritual knowledge shared by realized souls, I am just one of them. And I hope to convey my experiences to everybody. So this program is centered around a universal revival journey. So what that means for me, the word universal means all-encompassing. It means, so revival would also mean bringing one back to its original state or natural state. And then the journey is the actual path to get there. So this is actually, this speaks to what I think all truth seekers are looking for out there. We're all looking to tend to our natural state. So the question is, what would actually be our natural state? And if you look at our or anybody's want or desire in life, it's a basic desire to just be happy, to be blissful. And somehow along the way, we've lost this natural state. If you want to see what the natural state of perhaps what we were initially, that would actually be, if you look at babies, if you look at yourself when you were, if you could remember yourself when you were little, babies in their natural state are completely happy. You have to actually do something to them to make them unhappy. But if left, they are actually blissful in their natural state. So we need to ask the question, what has changed in our lives that perhaps we're not in our natural state? So the thing that we probably need to look at is, firstly, what we are. And one of the things that defines who we are is this human body. We have to acknowledge that we are these physical beings. And in this physical existence, we have probably the most complex and the most magnificent piece of technology that we have available to us in the form of the different systems that are going on day and night without even our will. There's these huge, not huge, there's these complex, different nervous systems going on, and they're all communicating with the different organs, and there are different processes going on. So while this is going on in the human body, there's a process of creation, there's a process of maintenance, and there's a process of destruction that's going on. So cells are being created, they're being maintained, they're being destroyed, and all for the ongoing, this mechanism to carry on being, to exist. So while this is going on, it's not even without, it's without our will. So this kind of, this ongoing process is there, and there is also something that's a bit higher with the human existence, in that we have something called the mind. And with the mind, there is also this creation, there is also this maintenance, and there is also this structure of different thoughts that come around. So that one of the questions that we need to ask ourselves is, how are we regulating that process? So with the physical being, as soon as the breath comes into us, this different energy comes in and it activates, or it transforms its original energy into something that can give the brain function, it can give the kidney function, it can give the heart the ability to pump, it can give the lungs the ability to breathe. And it also gives us the ability to use this mind. It has given us the ability to think and to discern. But our real issue, or perhaps our problem, arises from the inability for us to regulate the fluctuations in our mind. So this happens because of we really don't have that kind of subtle control over what is created, over what we are maintaining, and what needs to be destroyed within our different in the existence of our minds. One of the main perhaps issues with diseases that are existing in this world all start from the mind. There is something that that perhaps doctors can refer to as psychosomatic causes of diseases, and these all start from the mind. And because we have no regulation in this great tool that we have, and it seems to be doing its own thing all the time, it gives us, or it is probably the cause of most sufferings that we have in our life. So while we have this this amazing tool, this amazing mechanism to do glorious things, it is also a source of our troubles because it is not controlled, or it is not within our control. So for that to happen, we need to have, or what saints or realized souls have come to tell us, is that there is such a thing as a divine experience that you can have. And all scriptures say this. It is of all religions, all different beliefs, and they all speak of the same thing. If you have to look at it, of every single type of scripture that, or every type of dialogue that we've been exposed to, it is simply somebody telling you that they had a certain experience and they are sharing it with you because it was such a profound experience that it changed their psyche within themselves. They talk about things that changed their perspective on life. It was illuminating to them. So sometimes we can get bogged down with the details of scriptures because it has deep esoteric meaning behind it. And if you don't really have an understanding, which I didn't have an understanding of it up until we came into contact with these realized souls, such as Mahatmas and Guru Maharaji, that we actually began to understand kind of from a layman's point of view. They were able to make us understand this. So the thing is, every type of scripture is basically telling you what somebody's experience is. So if we can bring it down to something we can all understand, if you think about hypothetically, if you've never eaten pizza in your whole life, and somebody tells you that, hey, look, there's this thing called a pizza, and it has a dough, and it has sauce, and you can put toppings over it, and you can put cheese, and then it goes into the oven, and then it comes out, and it smells like this, and it tastes like this, and it's glorious. It tastes amazing. So you have the different all the scriptures are basically telling you is that there is such a thing, and I'm bringing it down a level, that there is such a thing as pizza. And this is what it looks like. This is what it tastes like. This is what the experience is. This is what happens when you have it. But what happens most of the time is that we come to a stage where we're happy just listening about it. We're happy just hearing about it. But we need to go the extra step and actually taste the pizza. That would be the proof in the pudding, wouldn't it? So what we need to ask of ourselves is, how can we have that experience? And will we get that same experience that the scriptures have defined? So we have to, in our own individual journeys in life, we have to keep asking this question if we haven't got there yet. And then once you have this experience, I mean, there is no going back after that experience. You actually have experienced this certain thing that the scriptures have been talking about. And we have been fortunate enough, lucky enough, and it is actually humbling to have that experience from a realized soul where that kind of spiritual knowledge has been imparted to us, especially in this day and age. So I wanted to actually talk about a little bit about the effects of meditation and what effects it has had on my life, especially living kind of in a Western society here in South Africa. So from the effects coming into my life of meditation, they range from physical changes, psychological changes as well, benefits, emotional well-being, mental well-being as well. And then there is, of course, the spiritual part of it as well. So especially coming from a youth in this day and age, we are kind of exposed to so many different kind of thoughts and different kind of, I wouldn't say distractions, but kind of attractions in different forms. So what we usually do is we're kind of taken aback in this. And one of the things that has helped me and many youth, in fact, I think all of you can attest to this as well, is the effect of meditating, but not just something that you perhaps do kind of a formality. It really makes an effect on your life when you accept this knowledge into every single part of your life. That means in your work, in your dealings with different people, your family, your friends, in your work, sorry, I repeated that, with your friends, and just in general, in all of your activities, if you have to meditate or try to connect to this great energy that is giving you all of these experiences, then there's a difference in perspective and understanding that happens. I can give you an example. When we were all young, and we would perhaps be a little bit naughty when we were young, and we would either get hiding or scolding or something because we're doing something wrong. And at that point, when you're a child, you don't understand the effect of you not being corrected. So when all that you see when you're a child is that, hey, I can't do the thing that I want to do, and there's resentment, there would be different negative feelings, But take that same experience 20 years down the line, and you look back at that and you think to yourself, hey, you know what, if I hadn't been disciplined in that way, I would not be the person, or I would not have this clarity that I have right now in my life. So in the same way, we're all living out our different our different karmas in however we are living them. And sometimes we believe that perhaps God or the Almighty is against us for whatever reason. And that's actually not the case. It's never the case. And this kind of understanding comes about when you are meditating and you are experiencing the different things that you are experiencing, but while you are being connected through meditation. So taking you back to that example of when a child was experiencing being disciplined, if at that point the child had the understanding of the effect and the benefit of being corrected, then there is a change of perspective that happens. So what happens when you meditate and you do your daily activities? You are in constant connection with that energy that is in fact giving you that experience. So how can that energy or that Almighty ever be against you? So that kind of understanding comes while you are living and going through your daily activities, and while you're connected, you have that understanding. So there is a difference in how you are living your life after that. It actually changes your perspective to such a positive outlook and such a balanced view of life that you actually start to become blissful in life. You don't see kind of differences between good or bad situations. You just see them as different experiences. And I want to take probably to take your attention to something that was, I had a discussion once with, I was lucky enough to have a conversation with Shri Ji Maharaj a long time ago. And Shri Ji Maharaj mentioned something. I asked Maharaj about what is this ego? And he says, it's what it is actually different formings over our true or natural state. So if you can imagine an onion, and he went on to explain the onion, and it was something that I've actually come to experience. I mean, it's something that was told to me a long time ago, but I've actually come to experience it through meditation, is that we all have different experiences in life, and they form a layer over our natural, our Atma. And these come in the forms of different sanskars and different karmas and stuff. And at some point, they form a layer over us. And we get different experiences from life. And before we actually experience those things, they come through the filters that we've created. And by the time we actually experience that experience, it is now tainted with a different filter that you've put on. So what happens with meditation is that slowly but surely, as you meditate, these different layers come off that you yourself have created. It's not that somebody has put it on there. Each individual puts these layers on themselves, and it's not something bad at the same time. It's just that you've now created something that filters whatever's coming into your life, and you're not seeing it for what it really is. So what meditation does is it helps to remove these different layers that we've formed over our true self, such the extent that when you experience life's different experiences, you experience it for what it really is, and not what your different filters have previously created for you. So I would like, my wish for every single truth seeker and every single premi is that we need to be experientially based on the spiritual path. So we should try as much as we can to have that experience, not just on a daily basis, like once or twice a day or something like that, but it needs to become part of our life such that it becomes second nature to us. It must actually be involved in every single thing that we do. And when that happens, life changes. Your perspective on life changes. And you experience what the saints and Mahatmas say is that our true state, and our true state is Sat Chit Anand, which is truth, consciousness, and bliss. And if we all have to have that experience, then there would be actually an amazing, blissful life that we can experience and also share with the rest of the world. So with that, I'd like to say Jai Sachidanand. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Vimalji, for sharing your wonderful experiences and the importance of meditation. We all need to be very consistent and practical in our life. That's true. Now, moving forward, we are taking you once again to India for a devotional song by one of our talented singers from Sikkim, Miss Sudita Rai. She will be accompanied by her father, Bimal Rai. So let's hear devotional song.
And he will do something new today.
Sugita, for mesmerizing us with such a soulful bhajan in your melodious voice. We are very much fortunate today to have with us Mahatma Dharni Baiji, who is an enlightened soul from Haridwar in India. She is a disciple of Shri Satpal Ji Maharaj, spiritual head of Manav Dharm organization. She has successfully been providing spiritual enlightenment for the past 2 decades in various parts of India, Australia, Canada, UK, Europe, Fiji, and presently in Mauritius. She is also a doctor in Ayurveda, so keeps helping people spiritually as well as physically. Her mission is to uplift the soul of mankind by rendering spiritual discourses on the essence of all scriptures and also by teaching yoga and meditation to the aspirants. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hear from Mahatma Dharni Baiji from Mauritius.
Thank you, Ranjana ji, and thank you, Vimal and Cindy, for sharing such inspiring experiences. And welcome to the Universal Revival Journey program. By the grace of Shri Guru Maharaj's lotus feet, since my teenage, I have been listening to the discourses of Shri Guru Maharaj Ji, and from Guru Maharaj's discourse, I would like to mention one message. And what that message is? Guru Maharaj Ji used to say that to change the world from darkness from age of darkness, you can say Kali Yuga, to the golden age, which is, we can say, Satya Yuga. So if you want to change the world from dark age to golden age, we do not need to change the sky, earth, rivers, mountains, trees, etc. But we need to change the heart of human. We need to change the mind of human. So the universal revival journey starts from within. If we want to see revival in the universe, we must experience it within ourselves. Now, let's talk about revival. What is revival? And how can we revive ourselves? So, revival is the restoration of the spiritual life. In today's materialistic world, it has become a human nature to acquire wealth, and this lust is never ending. In rat race to accumulate this wealth in this world, we lose sight of purpose of our human life. Our scriptures tell us that rarely we get human life out of 8.4 million lives. Our learned saints have visualized that a child, when in mother's womb, recollects his or her past lives and prays to the Almighty God that once out of the womb will strive hard not to be born again. So, thus the sole aim of our life is to attain salvation. The aim of our life, goal of our life is to attain salvation. But what happened? Once we are born, the world around us drags us to the materialistic life. So we need revival, restoration of the spiritual life. But let me make it clear that it is not necessarily needed to observe renunciation from daily life activities in order to indulge into spirituality. Do not ignore your job or your profession or your duties, but just put God in the center of each and every activity. And it just reminds me one ritual. Uh, when we go to temple for worship. We know that. But what we do when we go to temple, we stand. We are standing in front of murti, idol, statue, whatever you say, and we are having some offering with us. We offer that, and we worship. We close our eyes. We bow down. Everything we are doing, and when we finished, one more thing we do. What we are doing is we walk around the murti or walk around the idol or the statue. We make a round, we make a circle. And this signifies that God is the center of our life. When we make a circle, we know that if we make a circle, there must be a center. So similarly, what we do in temple, we are making circle around the statue. So this ritual indicates that the God is the center of our life. Now come back to the point that for spirituality, we do not need to ignore our daily duties. Do not ignore. But what we need to do? We need to make some habits. As we listen, and Cindy was asking that more often I am giving homework in each and every my satsang. So today I am not going to give you any homework, but right now I am going to guide you, right? And I will suggest you, if you make some habits in your life, it will helpful for revival. So mostly I will talk about five habits we need to make in our life. First habit we should make it, and that is that we have to start our day with meditation. It is good if you wake up early in the morning, in between 3 to 6, which is known as a Brahma Muhurat. But if you are not able to wake up early, no worries. But whenever you wake up, the moment you open your eyes, just take a deep breath and meditate for a few minutes. So this is the first habit. We have to meditate when we wake up. Start your day with meditation. This is the first habit. What is the second one? Second habit is that we must try to remember God in the midst of all actions, any kind of activity, any kind of duties we are performing. But we need to remember God. We need to do Nama Sumiran. We need to remember holy name. And what happened? This remembrance connects us with divine energy and always helps us to perform our task in better way. So this is the second habit we need. And third habit, that is reading habit. Every day we have to read some spiritual text, or I will suggest we should read our monthly magazine Manav Utthan, or you can read that our literature of our ashram, of our darbar. Reading is very important. We must read, and you can see some benefits when you start reading Manav Utthan. And I would like to explain one experience of our one premi. What happened once, I was in ashram and one premi came, and he was looking very upset, and then he started talking, and he said that he is having so many problems at his office, and it's just office politics. We know that. So after listening to all his tasks, I just gave Manavdaram magazine to him, and I told him that just read this magazine during your lunchtime or in your coffee time. And after 1 week, he came back and he was very happy. And he shared his experience with me and he said that this is miracle. Then I asked what happened, just tell me. So he said that he got answers of all his problems, all his queries in Manodharam magazine. Just by reading Manodharam, he was getting all his answers. Even he said that he was feeling very energetic and he felt less stress and he was very happy. And he said, Baiji, I want more magazines, and this is the power of reading. So when I'm talking about reading Manodharam, or reading the script, any kind of spiritual book or anything, scripture or anything. But I know that maybe you have a question in your mind and someone is thinking about what is Baiji talking about. Nowadays, we have so many videos in YouTube, in our Manodharam app, in website. Is it necessary to read Manodharam? Is it okay if we listen Satsang instead of reading? So my personal suggestion is reading. It's good to listen, it's good to watch, but my personal suggestion is reading. What's the reason why I am asking? So for that, I will explain it in different way. In our ancient time, education system was different. They used to learn by listening. We say Smruti, Shruti and Smriti. They used to learn by listening. But in the present times, we learn by reading and writing. So our brain pattern is different. We learn by reading and writing. And what we read directly goes to our mind. And that's why I will suggest reading. And instead of reading unnecessary things, we should try to read spiritual matters. So this is our third habit. You have to remind all five. First one is when we wake up, we have to meditate. Second one is during our worldly duties, we have to practice holy name. And third one is reading spiritual text. Now let's move on to fourth habit. But before talking about fourth habit, I have one question. The question is, what is the most sacred and powerful place in your house? Think which is the most powerful place in your house. Maybe you are thinking about temple. No, the answer is your kitchen. Yes, your kitchen is the most powerful place in your house. Remember it. Food cooked with positive vibrations transmit the same among all the family, and that's why while preparing food, no talk on the phone, no listening the news, no unnecessary talk. Got my point? While cooking, while preparing food, no phone call, no listening news, no unnecessary talks, but only be positive. You can listen Maharaj's Satsang, you can do Nam Sumiran, anything, but the positive vibration must be there in your kitchen while you are preparing food. And related to this topic, I would like to mention one thing. There was a Japanese researcher and he wrote a book named The Hidden Messages in Water. This is the book. And in this book, what he wrote, I will like to read for you exact what he is talking about water. So he's saying that the water serves as a transporter of energy throughout the body, carried by blood and bodily fluid. It is the means by which nourishment is circulated throughout our body. This flow of water enables us to live active life. We know water plays very important role in our life. We know that. Further, what he's saying about water? Next, he says that whatever water hears, sees, and feels becomes a catalyst for its change as it copies, memorized, and transporting information. So now we have to think what we are doing with water. Okay, so if we can utilize our thoughts and words for positive change while we are using or while we are drinking water, we could rewire our body and our mind. So be positive or remember holy name while using or drinking water. So this is the fourth habit. What I said in fourth habit, while cooking or while preparing food, no talk, just be positive. And while drinking or using water, we have to remember holy name. This is our fourth habit we have to make. Now the final one, fifth one. Fifth habit is meditate before going to sleep. This is the simple one. When we go to bed, we are about to sleep, then just meditate. Just remember holy name and go to sleep. So these are the 5 habits. I think we all have to practice it. Once a philosopher was asked, what is the way to God? And the philosopher replied, start your day with God, fill your day with God, end your day with God. That is the way to, very simple. So to revive ourselves, we have to make these 5 habits in our life. We have to practice it every day. And only one thing I will say, practice, practice, and practice. So this is the thing we need to do. And when I say we have to do all 5 things to revive ourselves, I know that some people are thinking that it is very hard. And we can try. Someone will say, I will try. But I have one more thing to share with you. And I have one more question. Better, I will say one more question. If you have a choice, what kind of choice? You have 2 things. And in one thing, it is said that while using this instrument, you must have to be careful all the time. And second thing, they will say, no, this is automatic. No worries about it. Just make it on and it will manage everything. This is automatic. So which one you will purchase? Definitely. I can hear your answers. You will say that I will purchase automatic one. Because nowadays, what we need? Everything automatic. And for this habit, I have one more suggestion. Okay. So this was the revival way that I was talking about with 5 habits, right? And for that, we have to practice it. We have to be alert and everyday practice. We need to encourage ourselves and everything we need to do. But the second, the auto revival way, I will say that is auto revival way. And which one will you like? With 5 habits or with auto revival? I'm sure you will choose, everyone will choose auto revival. It's good. We have to just follow. So what is auto revival? And to explain this, I will like to share one story. In form of story, I would like to explain it, because when we listen the stories, it's very easy for us to understand the message. So I would like to explain one story. This story is about a Tibetan monk. There was a Tibetan monk. There was a yogi, we can say yogi, and his name was Milarepa. This is the story of Milarepa. Milarepa was born in Western Tibet to a prosperous family. When his father died, his family was deprived of their wealth by his uncle and auntie. At his mother's request, Milarepa left his house and he studied. Some say that he studied black magic. Somehow he gets some occult power to take revenge, and he killed many people to take revenge. But what happened later he felt sorrow about his deeds, and he became a student of Marpa, the translator. Before Marpa would teach Milarepa, that Marpa had Milarepa undergo abuse and trials. What kind of trials he did? So Milarepa was asked to build a tower. When he was finished, then Marpa said, okay, now demolish this. Then he demolished this tower. And this happened 3 times. 3 times Milarepa built a tower, and Marpa said, okay, it is done, now demolish it. And Milarepa demolished that tower. And finally, Milarepa was asked to build a multi-story tower. And he did, which still stands in Tibet somewhere. And eventually, Marpa accepted Milarepa, explaining that the trials were a means to purify Milarepa's negative karma. And Marpa initiated Milarepa and told him to practice meditation in a cave of mountain, and he did. And thereafter, Milarepa lived as a fully realized monk or fully realized yogi. So this is the story of Milarepa, story of transformation. What kind of transformation? Transformation of a sinner to a yogi. But how this transformation was done? The only thing was following Agya or instruction of the master or guru. Only by following the Agya of Guru Maharaj Ji, disciple or any devotee can have auto revival process. This is the auto revival. Means we have nothing to do. We don't need to think anything about it. I am good, I am bad, what is I am doing, is it right, is it wrong? No, nothing to think. Just follow Agya of Guru Maharaj. So this is the only revival which will be done automatic. So auto revival system is to follow Agya of Guru Maharaj Ji. So now we have two choices. You can make 5 habits or simply follow Maharaj's Agya. Two choices. Whatever you want, you can choose. But finally, I would like to suggest something, especially to the devotees. That okay, we are talking about revival and everything we are listening here. But few points I would like to mention, that how can we know that do we really need revival and what kind of revival. So for this topic, I would like to suggest some points, especially to the devotees, and listen it carefully. First one is, if our love for Shri Guru Maharaj Ji is not as strong or deep as it was in our initial spiritual journey, then we need revival. When our interest shift from the spiritual upliftment to material benefits, then we need revival. When the thirst for meditation, seva and satsang get lower, then we need revival. When much of our time being spent in the entertaining to the world, then in spending time for ashram and seva, then we need revival. When we are more concerned about what others think about us than what the master or what Guru Maharaj Ji thinks about it, we need revival. So these are some suggestions. We have to think about it, because we all want to walk, we all want revival, and that's why think it twice. Okay, I'm not saying that this is for you, for all of us. This is also for me, also for you. We all have to think. And finally, at the end, I would like to say that let's take an opportunity to revive our consciousness, to contribute to the revival of universe. So that's all. And once again, thanks to everyone, and I bow down to the lotus feet of the Guru Maharaj Ji. Sadgurudev Maharaj Ki Jai.
Thank you, Baiji. We are immensely blessed and overwhelmed to hear from you. Thank you so much for your valuable suggestions and giving us 2 options for the art of revival, 5 simple habits or auto revival. With this, ladies and gentlemen, dear preemies, we have almost reached to the end of our today's program. But before that, I would like to request Baiji to kindly conduct a closing prayer followed by a short meditation of 2 minutes for world peace.
Thank you. And at the end, let's pray. And we will make prayer in Sanskrit and English. So first we will sing in Sanskrit what we are generally singing. Tvamev mata cha pita tvamev bandhu cha sakha tvamev vidya dvarinam tvamev sarvam mama deva deva sarvam mama deva deva sarvam mama deva deva. O Supreme God, you are my mother and father. You are my brother and friend. You are knowledge as well as wealth. and you are everything to me. You are everything to me. You are everything to me. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामय सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. May all be happy. May all be free from illness. May all see what is auspicious. May no one suffer. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now for few minutes, let's meditate. Close your eyes and concentrate your mind on your breath. बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुदेव महाराज की जय.
Thank you so much, Baiji. With this, we come to the end of our today's program. First and foremost, I would like to thank Guru Maharaj Ji, God Almighty, for bestowing His endless blessings upon us. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to Baiji for enlightening us with her divine words. I would also like to thank the speakers for sharing their valuable experiences with us. And I would also like to thank the singers for permitting us into the divine tune of such soulful bhajans. And last but not the least, I would like to thank every individual who have participated in our today's program. We look forward to meet again in the next episode of our program, Universal Revival Journey. Till then, Namaskar, Jai Shri Sachidanand, and thank you so much.